All right, so here we go. Let's take the attendance. Eon, Mr. I'm sorry. Alex, bye.
Here.
Ellen. Oh, hello, Ellen. 여보세요.
안녕하세요.
와다사이. Ada. Henry Grant. Hey, no free shows, Dylan. Tell your mom to get out of the class. All right. What?
That was my sister.
Oh, no free shows either way. Tell him to get the hell out of here. All right. Henry's here. Where's Henry at? There you are, Henry.
Here.
Okay, Fiona's not here. Or Eleanor's not here. Lance Matthews.
Yeah.
Logan, what's up, bruh? We good, bruh? Catch some waves, snark a little, bros. The Chosen One.
I'm here.
Greek Thunder. And last but not least, everybody say it with me. Getty Whoop. All right, okay. Okay, go on Portal. You guys have a quiz, right? You should not have Eclipse open, but as soon as you are done with your quiz, get Eclipse open, make a new project, new class, call it 4 loops, no space. Let's get going. Who just left? Okay, we should soon be winding down. Nice job, Lance. Nice job, Will. Nice job, Gary. All right. Okay, just waiting on a couple more people. All right. You guys ready to go over this real quick?
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
what were the P and Q for? Like on problem 3 and 4, there was like a random integers P and Q.
You just don't use
You were, yeah. So, yeah, basically what it was is it's from one of the test banks that I got. So these questions were like they basically use the same P's and Q's. So I basically just copied the same integer, like the same code, so that the code, it's just basically, I just wanted to repeat the code bank.
Okay, got it.
Alex says, yeah, if it showed you all the answers, that's okay. I just didn't get a chance to go to the settings. Just don't tell anybody, okay? All right, so actually, you know what we're not going to do? So I hate to do this. We're not going to go over the quiz today. The scores were quite good, okay? The score 3s and 4s, okay? So I'm very, very happy, but we just, due to time, guys, we just don't have the time. I got to get into for loops ASAP, okay? So going to go right into Eclipse, okay? I'm going to go right into it. Okay. Now, at this point, we've been doing a lot of like if statements and stuff like that. You guys have been doing quite well, and now it's time to see the cream rise to the top, okay? Loops, all right? Loops. Now, Python, Swift, arguably they do the worst job in the history of whoever designed loops that way. They just did it terribly. A lot of assumptions need to happen. In Java, you basically have a breakdown. It tells you basically understand everything that a loop is going to do. All right. By the way, there is a lot of content, so keep me on task. Okay. If I am going over instantly, because I'm going to get into this, I'm going to start lecturing. If I go over, you need to tell me, Marty, class is over. Okay. Don't worry about interrupting me. I'm not going to take it as an insult if you interrupt me, but there's just a lot of information. So if I'm going over, as I told you, we'll have a couple of days where we're working on this. Let me know. Understood? All right. So here we go. So traditional loop. All right. There's a lot of steps to cover. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cover the steps and just how everything is. Okay. All right. Now, some of you guys have been taught loops before, and you guys kind of have a basic understanding of it. Now I'm going to teach you the right way. All right. And you'll have an even better understanding. A loop is basically a repetition. Okay. Now listen to this word, iteration. Some of you are familiar with it. Some of you are not. An iteration is basically one cycle through a loop. Okay. So whenever you ask somebody how long a loop lasts for, most of the time you'll answer the question with a certain amount of iterations. Okay. So a loop is basically a repetition of something, allowing us to repeat a process over and over again. Okay. And the for loop, which we are going to start off with, is designed to work based on a certain set of tries. So the way we start off, okay, is we're going to say for. That is how it is. You'll notice that for instantly turns purple. Okay. So for. I'm going to open my parentheses. All right. There are 4 parts, if done correctly, to a traditional for loop. Okay.
I don't see you sharing your screen.
Yeah, you're not sharing.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Thank you for that, gentlemen. And I use that term loosely. Not for you, though, Gary. All right. So, okay. Now, traditional for loop starts off with 4 open parentheses. Okay. Now, again, there's 4 parts. The first part, int j equals 0. Now, I use int j or int I or k. You can use whatever variable name you want. It is completely up to you. I've been doing this for 15 years. J is the first letter in the most amazing word ever created, Javi. Okay, my first name. So I use that. It's a sleek letter. It's sexy. It tells me, hey, you know what you're doing. Okay, so int j equals 0. This is, again, what we call the initialization step. Okay, this is basically setting up our starting point, more or less. Okay, now I'm going to open up I'm going to basically close it off with a semicolon and go to my next step. Okay, my next step is where I set up a expression. Okay, j is less than 5. Just going to set it up that way. This second step is the conditional step. Now, the for loop works exactly like an if statement. You have a set of curly braces. Now, you will often see an if statement without curly braces. The rule of curly braces applies to for loops, but very rarely will you see them without a curly braces. When it comes to loops, it confuses people too much. So even if it's just one thing, you'll almost always have a set of curly braces, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just write some code here. Okay. This is step 3. Now, step 3 only occurs if step 2 is true. So step 1, j is 0. Step 2, is 0 less than 5? True. If this is true, it comes in and it runs internal code. Okay, then step 4 happens. J plus plus. Okay, step 4 is called the step expression, because you are either going to step up or you are going to step down. So if I run this code right now, I get hello 5 times. And the way that you have to look at it is like this, okay? J is 0. Is 0 less than 5? Okay, we're on our first iteration, by the way. Okay, 0 less than 5, yes it is. Run hello. Now we add 1. J is now equal to 1. Start our second iteration. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. Go and print hello, add another one. Now it's 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. Run it again. Add 1, 3. Add 1, 4. Okay, I had 5 iterations. Add 5. Is 5 less than 5? No.
No.
No, it is not. It is false. Okay, if I were to do less than or equal to 5, how many times is this now going to print out? Euban?
6.
6, bingo. Okay. 6 times. All right. Now, do we always have to start at 0? No. I could say we're going to start this at 10. And I'm going to say as long as j is greater than or equal to 0, and then rather than a plus plus, I'll do a minus minus. So every iteration, rather than incrementing, I am decrementing. I'm decreasing j by 1. So you have the option of going up or coming back down. Now, on the free response, with a for loop, in like at least 2 out of the last 5 years, they've wanted you to be able to realize people get used to just looping up. They've gone after you with you having to work it back downwards, okay? So having the understanding of this and this is key. Now, let's say, for example, let's do something, let's say where I wanted to print out all the multiples of 5 up to 100, okay? Let's say I wanted to print out all the multiples of 5 up to 100. So I'm gonna say 0. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to say j is less than or equal to 100, okay? And I'm gonna say j plus plus, all right? Now there's 2 ways that I can do it, okay? There's 2 ways that I could do it. I could say int num equals 0, okay? And then what I could do is on every single line of code or every iteration, I could do this. I could say num plus equals 5, and then I could print out. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a space and I'm gonna change this to a print, okay? So that it'll go on one line. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 60, 80, whatever, okay? What happened there? 80, 95, 100, okay? So I could do that, okay? What was the problem?
Num doesn't have a barrier.
Jeez, come on, what is happening? Hold on one second, guys. Hold on, what the heck? Hold on. This happened earlier to me today too. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I monitor for some reason all of a sudden will cut off. I don't know what's going on. I think it has something to do with the heat and the power. Okay, so the problem is this, okay, is I can do so whatever I can. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing this 100 times. This is probably not the most efficient way to do this, to even try to do this, okay? Okay, I could also, j is greater than or equal to 100, okay? What I could also do is I could say j plus equals 5. I can do that up here. Okay, and this gives me all the multiples, but even so, this still isn't the best way to do it. Okay. What you need to start learning is how to use this variable to your advantage. We do that by substitution. Okay. You will use this variable often. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out, okay, I'm going to do an if statement basically. I'm going to say if j modular 5 is equal to 0. That's basically telling me that if j modular 5 is equal to 0, then what? It is a multiple of 5. That means it has gone in perfectly without any remainders. And what I will do is I will then just print out j. This will cycle through, and there it is, okay? Again, let me actually clean it up a bit. J plus space 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and I've got all my multiples of 5, okay? This variable is very important, okay? Now, Okay. So let's say that I did this, okay? Int j equals 0, okay? And right here, okay, right here, hands up everybody, when everybody away from their code, hands up, okay? Gary, what are you looking at? You're obviously not looking at me.
There's stuff going on outside.
What?
There was just something going on outside my room.
Oh, I bet, okay. All right, hands up, okay? All right, now step away from your computer, hands to your back, hands back. At this point in 12, what is j equal to?
100.
Raise
It
your
isn't equal to
raise-
anything. J is no longer a variable.
Oh, you're asking outside.
Okay, all right, raise your hand. Apparently Dylan doesn't know how to quiet his mouth, okay? And you're wrong, j is still a variable. I would count you off on the AP for that because that's the wrong terminology, okay? All right?
Can I
J-
clarify my terminology?
No, because you didn't get a perfect on the quiz. So now, okay. Sorry, buddy. Okay. You want to get in the ring with Ali to box, you better learn how first. Okay. Now, okay, the reason is because J is what we call a local variable. Okay, this is new terminology. J is called a local variable. Now, a local variable is basically any variable that is defined within a process. Okay, this could be a method, this can be a loop, this can be a while loop, this can be a switch case. Okay, and what that means is it can only be used within this scope. Now, to say it's no longer a variable, not true. Okay, it is still a variable. It is still taking up memory. Okay, the minute that you put int, all right? But if I try to do this, you'll notice that I get an error. Okay. Now the reason why is because what is the terminology for when it's no longer working? It's an outdated what, Dylan?
Never heard that terminology before. I was just going to say it's uninitialized.
Wrong. It's an outdated scope. Okay. It's an outdated scope. Now the scope, whenever I ask you, what is the scope of a variable, you always answer with how many iterations it runs. So in this instance, what is the scope of J?
111.
Nope.
101.
101, because we're inclusive of 100, from 0 to 100. So the scope, okay, is a lifetime of the variable, all right? But with a for loop, okay, we're also allowed to do this. Okay, and you will see this. This is common, so get used to this. I can say int j right out here. And then inside, I can set j equal to 0. The minute that I have done this, okay, and a lot of people will call this a counter variable because it's keeping counts of the loops. Okay, the minute I've done this is I'm no longer using a local variable. This was not declared inside of a process. It was declared at the root level. This is now a global variable. This can be used anywhere. And you're going to need to know these terms when we start creating objects and work with constructors, okay? So int j is a global variable. Now take a look. It's if I were to run this, it still works, okay? 0, 5 works perfectly fine, okay? But I can now also print j. Come on, what is going on with the keyboard? Outside of the for loop. I can use it mathematically. Gary, you are right. The value of j is 101. Okay. You will also see people do for loops like this. This is also legal. Okay. Now, one of the things that you can also do, but it's not tested, is you literally can see another for loop like this. Okay. This is also legal. By default, it's just going to increment by 1. We are not going to do that. We are always going to make sure that our step expression is there. Okay. This is how the for loop functions. Okay. Again, you have step 1, which is your initialization step. You can use a local variable or a global variable. 8 times out of 10, you are going to use a local variable. Think of that as your counter variable. It is keeping count of how many loops. Then we have step 2, which is our conditional expression. If this expression is true, it goes in and it runs the code. Okay. Then last, we have our step expression. Okay. So so kind of like an AP question already. What time do I have until?
105.
105. Okay. So let's take a look at this. We're going to go back to int j equals 0. All right. Let's say that I have string name equals Mammoth Mountain, okay? Let's say that I have this as my string, right? Okay. Let's say that I want you to go through and I want you to tell me how many M's are in this word. Well, first of all, I need to break this down letter by letter, don't I? Right? So this is where substring comes in. I told you guys when you learned it, substring would be the #1 string method you would use, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some modifications here, okay? So int j equals 0. Are you guys okay with that? Does that sound good? Thumbs up, yes or no? Do I have approval from the chosen one? Oh, and he gave me the down arrow. Ooh, yeah, good. All right, I approve. All right. So, it's all love, Dylan. If I'm picking on you, it's a good thing. If I don't talk to you, it's a bad thing. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do, my conditional statement. Let's see. Logan, brah. All right. So we need to set the conditional, man, to be what? What can we not exceed, brah?
Mammoth Mountain dot name dot length.
Bingo. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna modify our expression. Okay, we want to make sure that j is less than name dot length. Okay, now do not do less than or equal to. Okay, here's the reason why. Let's say the word hello is 5 letters, right? And we're starting at 0. When we're counting letters, we start at 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we're dealing with substring, Eubin, what do you remember the parameter was? What are we looking at? Starts with an I. What's the parameter? It's an integer representing what? What value?
0.
No, 0 is the what value though? It starts with an I.
The initial value?
No, come on, Ian. What is
The
it?
index.
The index value. Okay. Ha ha ha! Fake laughter. I was wrong.
I said that.
You didn't say that. You said initialization.
I said index first, and then
No,
were
you
like,
did not.
no.
Who heard her
And then
say
we
index?
started-
She said initial value.
You said
I
That's what I
said
heard.
index. Okay, I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, you best not be
Did you
arguing.
just mute? Are you crying?
She
Hold
did.
on. Hold on. Let me go get my
Not
jar.
argue with the truth, Euban.
Let me go get my jar of children's tears. Hold on. Oh crap, I can't find them. All right, darn it. Okay, so now name.length. The reason why is we start an index start at 0. So if we do starting at 0 with hello, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're good. If we did 5, we're we're going to get an error because there's nothing at index 5. So staying at dot length will always make sure we never test that last number. J plus is fine. So I'm going to do, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something called a counter variable. Int num, I can even say num_ems equals 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an if statement. If name.substring j, because j is 0, on my first iteration is 0. Now, how do I split a string? It is inclusive to exclusive. So if I go M to A, 0 to 1, exclusive of 1, this is how I check one letter at a time. So J to J plus 1. Now let's analyze this statement, okay? J is equal to 0. 0 less than the length of this? Yes, it is, okay? Int num, or actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Actually, I did this wrong. Why is this incorrect? Alex, bye.
It'll keep resetting.
Bingo. Every time I go into the loop, it's always going to reset it back to 0. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to paste it here. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it globally so that I can use it inside. So what I do is it's set to 0. If name.substring j to j plus 1, okay, 0, which is what it currently is, to 1, exclusive of 1, means it will only test the letter at the 0 index. Okay, so name.substring whatever dot equals ignore case m. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say num m plus plus. So if I do this, and then what I can do, so right now here, where am I? Okay, so this is my end of my if statement. This is outside my for loop, and I'm going to sys out num m. Okay, I'm going to print this out. This is the end of the for loop. Okay, now j is 0. Okay, is 0 less than the length? Yes, it is. I go into here. If name.substring, I'm using substitution. The current value of j is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. So 0 to 1, okay, exclusive of 1, is equal to ignoring case m. Is this first one m? Yes, it is. Num plus plus. Okay, I'm done with everything in here. Now I go back up and I add 1 to it. 1 to 2. So 1 to 2, exclusive of 2. Okay, does that equal m? No, skips this, goes straight to the counter expression. Now we're at 2, okay? 2 to 3, exclusive of 3. And it goes through all the way to the end letter, even to n, okay? It goes n to here, exclusive of here. You're allowed to do that, remember? Because it's exclusive, so you're allowed to go 1 over on a substring, okay? And what happens is we get 4. Okay, we get 4, right? So name.substring j to j plus 1 dot equals ignore case m num m plus plus. This is a simple, but I can tell you right now, this is something that you would see. This right here, believe it or not, would be part A of one of your AP questions. They always check to see if you know how to cycle through a string or cycle through a list using a for loop. Always. Okay? So in short, okay, we have num m equals 0. Or if we just ignore all of this, step 1, our initialization step. This can be a local variable as is here, or I can make it global. Okay? My conditional expression. If the conditional expression is true, I go in and I run my code. And then the last one is I increment. Okay. That is what we're covering today. Okay. I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to post online just a small little program that I want you to attempt. Nothing crazy. Okay. And it's just using for loops. All right. It's going to be rather easy. Okay. But this is it for today. Does anybody have any questions? I highly, highly, highly recommend that you rewatch this. If you don't understand it, rewatch it. If you need help with office hours or anything like that, let me know. I more than likely will do a weekend session at some point this weekend, okay? For those of you that are confused. So as soon as this class is over, I'm gonna post this online, all right? So look online for your homework assignment on Portal. Again, not expecting you to get it perfect. I'm not even gonna grade it because I haven't gotten to cover everything. It's just an assignment to see if you could possibly do it. Understood? Okay, I'm not grading it. It is worth 0. This one is just to get your guys' mind flowing. Sound fair? Okay, all right, guys, good job today. And good job on your quizzes. And I will see you tomorrow. Let's knock this week out fast.
Thank you.
Thank you.